how's it going? Whoops, shoot. Haha, that was gonna happen. Happening now is the time before I start jib-jabbering. I really want to focus on this Grinch Revolution palette. I had fun once. It was awful. It's just so cute. It's so cute. And I'm very surprised by the quality of these shades, honestly. I'm just pulling out Haunted Europe. For the mirror, I might bring a shade or two in just for the base, but the intention is not. I did pull in some new products though for my face. So I pulled out my Live Tinted. This is my Hue Beam in Nomad Nightfall. It's been a really long time since I pulled this out. This was an impulse purchase last year. You can still see tinted in there. That's how little I've used it. My daughter and I were walking around Ulta and I saw it and I was like, oh, that's pretty. I should get it. I also switched up my highlighter. I'm using my Glitter Puck in Cyber Diamond. It's the silver one. I am not going to hold this up to show you guys the product because last time I did, it was actually the shade. It came out and like cracked on my table, so I saved what I could, but that was really upsetting. And then this is my Vanngo blush in Single Mother, which I also have not used a bunch since I got it. I have a bunch of blushes, which is why, but it's not an excuse. It is not an excuse. I'm debating. I don't think I should call this an empty yet because there's like no windowing, but I'm finding it really hard to get the product out. So I really should pull the stopper out. I haven't. I have not done that. With that being said. So, how's it going? I'm feeling chatty. We'll see how much the babies allow me to chat. It's day 2 of Sean being back at work today. Yeah, I'm filming 2 days in a row. I have not edited yesterday's video, and I have no idea when I'm going to edit yesterday's video. There's a bunch of things I want to do. So, I was reflecting a lot while Sean was home over the past couple weeks, and I put so much pressure on myself. I put so much pressure to constantly entertain the kids, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. This is what I'm doing, though. This is my experience. To constantly entertain the kids, to constantly have a spotless house. You know, there's so many things, and I think that they're good things. But I put so much pressure on myself. The only one who cares, and that is part of the mental illness, but the only one who cares about those things the way, well, is me. And I'm not saying I'm going to let my, life go. I'm not going to, I'm not saying that at all. But I do think I need to be kinder to myself. I'm only human. If, there's blocks on my floor right now in the living room. And I know that the blocks need to get picked up before I can vacuum. And normally, because it's nap time right now, those would have to happen before I could do my makeup. But today I was like, you know what? I need to put myself first in this moment. My kids are all taken care of. You know, this is my time for my makeup, and I need to allow it be that. It's okay that that's what this time is right now. It doesn't have to be filled with, cleaning right the second and shampooing the carpets right the second and, the blocks away, and they'll still be there in 30 minutes or an hour or however long it takes me to do this. And that's okay. And because of that, I'm really working on, who am I? Beyond, I'm a wife and I'm a mother first, obviously, and I always want that to be what I am, but, there is more to me than being a wife and being a mother, and I have time. I am very lucky that I have the time to figure out who that person is, and I'm going in with Spandau Citradel. I really need to pull for this palette more when I need, a base, because I have been slacking. And to tell you guys the truth, if I was not playing this with Andy, if I was not playing Battleship with Andy, I'd probably declutter this palette. Just because this is not one I ever think to reach for, no matter what the look like. When it comes to blues, purples, nope. Not the palette I'm looking to reach for. When it comes to the rare times I'm looking to do warm tone, again, this is not the palette I'm wanting. So the only reason it is getting as much use as it is because I'm playing Doo Pan my Battleship with my friend Andy, and I love Andy, and it was my idea, so I don't want to be like, oh, I want to declare the palette right away, but yeah, this is not, I've learned a lot about myself and the kind of makeup I like, and that's why I am okay with having, you know, blue, purple, green eyeshadow a trillion times over in my collection, because I like it. I'll never get sick of it. Oh, although I do think that I did not plan this at all. This was just me sitting here looking at what shades I haven't used and trying to think of, you know, what shades I want to use. And this actually worked really well. So that is so funny. Clearly I have vibes on days where I just am flying by the seat of my pants. Like, this is awesome. But I'm okay having, you know, repetitive palettes and repetitive color stories because it's what I like, and they just make me happy. Like, the names, whether it's the packaging, whether it's, you know, whatever superficial nonsense, because honestly, like, how many colors of makeup do you need, right? It's all superficial nonsense at this point for me, but it makes me happy, so I'm okay with it. But, like, this palette, like, my favorite part of this palette is the packaging, and I don't even like the names of some of the shades in here. Like, and I know that's also superficial, but that red shimmer at the top right, pull up Haunted Europe Nomad if you're curious, because you're never going to hear me say that word ever. Andy has said it in some of their videos, so if you want to go, but at that point you're just doing research, so just go look it up. You're never going to hear me say it. It's the red shimmer. I don't like it. Like, I want to take a Sharpie and, like, black out the name because I don't like the name of it so much. It triggers me in a very real way. I'm very scared of it, actually. I do like this. Do I want to keep this, like, a mauve-y? Because I was going to go green today, I think. I think that was my plan. But now I'm like, do I want to keep it, like, mauve-y? Maybe. But there's so many hobbies I want to spend more time on. There's so many things I want to do. And because I want so many children, and because my children are all close together and young, I need to spend time doing things beyond my household that bring me fulfillment and make me who I am. So video games have always been a big part of who I am, and I have not allowed myself to play video games since my daughter was born, my oldest daughter, almost 6 years ago. And that was a huge part of me. I was playing video games, and I'm not going to do this ever again. Like, this was just, you know, stupid kid stuff, but I was playing video games 20 hours a day at one point in my life. Like, and it wasn't necessarily the video games that I was so addicted to. It was the sense of community and the friendships that I built. I made some of the best friends of my entire life through video games when I was in middle school. And some of them I still talk to this day, and still to this day, even though I have not met them in person, some of them still are some of the best friends of my entire life. So I'm going to take the shade Maxi, which is like the plummy purple. Ooh, this look is cool. This look is turning out to be warmer than I was craving, but I am really enjoying the way this is turning out so far. Play in your makeup. Play in your makeup, because it would be so easy for me just to pull a blue palette every day and be like, come up with a look I know I'm going to like, but then I wouldn't have, like, these moments where I'm like, I can't believe that worked, but it's turning out really well, actually. In fact, I might deviate from what I was planning on doing, which was using primarily the Revolution palette, and I might actually bring in that shimmer that I've been talking about, because I think that would actually go really, really well with this look, which is insane. I always have this thing in my throat. I don't understand. For those of you who've known me for years and years, have I always had that, like, constant clearing throat issue going on, and I just, like, wasn't self-aware enough to notice, or did this happen as I got older? I don't know. But it's not even an illness, because it's been happening no matter the season, as long as I've been, you know, doing YouTube, which is almost a year. It's crazy to think. But it helped me become more self-aware of my bad habits, and just, like, habits in general that I'm kind of indifferent to, but just, like, my isms, you know, it helped me become aware of things that I wasn't aware of before. Went back in with Spandau Citradel. I'm probably saying that name so wrong. But this is cool. This is cool. Some people are probably like, wow, it's such a basic look, but it's different for me, okay? Let me be happy. This is not a tutorial channel. This is we're hanging out because we're friends and doing our makeup together because we're friends. Talking about all the facts of life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the difficult. We talk about all that here. So we get vulnerable, we get real, we get raw. Because younger me would not. Younger me would have looked up to me today. Younger me would have been scared to have a voice, especially a voice that goes against the grain so frequently and so strongly, so passionately. There's a lot of things that I really, really disagree with people on, and younger me never would have dreamed of like telling people that. But older me is fine with it. Older me is actually very, very fine with it. So I'm using, again, that red shimmer that you guys are never going to ever hear me say. This look is cool. Okay, no one is going to piss in my Cheerios today. This look is really cool. When I do pinks, I usually go very pink. And when I go red, I go red. But this is like an orangey, like a burnt pink. I don't know. How would you guys describe this look? Burnt pink is what comes to mind for me. But I don't think I've ever done a look like this. And it matches my shirt. I seriously was not... That had no impact on my makeup today. I was fully prepared to do green. But that's pretty cool. I like this. This is fun. What was I even talking about? Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, like, me. So my goal is to be a stay-at-home wife and mother for the rest of my life. I don't ever want to return to the workforce. I spent the first half of my life, well, not the first half because I'm still very young, but I spent the first portion of my life being a boss babe. I graduated high school early. I had my bachelor's in hand when I was freshly 20 years old. I worked often 60 to 80 hours a week, just because I wanted to. And I had to be the best at everything. I never took the time to slow down and figure out who I was as a person. So I got married and divorced, not knowing anything about myself. Until my husband, he really challenged me in a lot of ways to just slow down. He's like, I know what you've done. I want to know who you are. So that really encouraged me to figure out, like, who the hell am I? Like, what are my hobbies? What does make my world spin? I always knew my kids did, but what else? I knew I wasn't an outdoorsy person. I've never been an outdoorsy person. I know that I'm not a sports person, but who am I? I know I'm a video games person, but why? And I think it's because I like connecting with people, and just hearing myself talk about my goals with my YouTube channel. And I think I want to put this is Love Stone from Too Faced. I just had to have this because I wear eyeshadow sticks so much, but I think it'd be really cool in my inner corner with this look, actually. Cool it up just enough, you know? I think that's so cool. That's so cool. Oh my god. And I am a mother because I love children. I love children, and all stages of children. And it's just really cool. I like watching them grow. I like the way they challenge me as well, though. Like, my oldest, he is almost 9, and he is really curious about the world. So he'll ask questions that, like, I genuinely don't know the answer to. And he's learning things in school that I swear I have never ever learned in my entire, like, I have a bachelor's degree, and I swear I've never learned this stuff. Obviously, I probably have at some point or another, but I don't remember. I couldn't tell you anything about it, and so it's just really cool. It's really cool, and then he'll ask questions about what he knows, and I can, guess based off of just what I know about life and my lived experience, but a lot of times it's just an open dialogue going back and forth about, like, what he thinks, what I think, and I am unlearning a lot of trauma. I am rewriting my own story in a lot of ways. And I'm finally free. So for a while, I had a lot of fear to be too honest or at what I was really worried about what certain people who I know are watching this, who have no business watching my stuff. So hello, you're still a shitty human being. And I will speak about that until the day I die, and you know who you are. You can talk to God about that. But what are they going to think? Like, how are they going to misconstrue the things I say? Yada, yada, yada. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, it really doesn't matter, because in their story, I am a bitch, and I've never said I'm not, for the record. I've never said I'm not. I definitely can be. But in your story, in my story, and in everybody else's story, you are a deadbeat piece of shit. So, I mean, I feel like one of these things are forgivable. A bitch or a deadbeat piece of shit. You kind of get interested. So I was like, I'm going to start living for myself, because I don't need to worry about what anybody thinks. Like, I don't. And I don't. And you guys have seen me grow over the past year. Just as a human being. Before it was all, I did this for my kids, now I have to do this for my kids, and I have to clean this for my kids, and I have to plan this for my kids, and it was never, well, what am I going to do when the rest of the house is sleeping? So I've been reading a lot. I have 7 of my own library books in my possession right now, and I was never a reader. Even in, like, high school, I did not read. Sorry, teachers. I already have my bachelor's. It's too late. There's a statute of limitations on taking back bachelor's degrees, right? But in all seriousness, I didn't read, like, any of the books that I was assigned in high school or college at all. I probably skimmed them at best for quotes that I thought I could connect to whatever position I was trying to make, and that was it. But now I'm, like, reading for leisure, and I'm flying through books quicker than I ever have before, and I'm applying it to real life, and it's just really cool. It's really cool to see the personal growth in myself, and just because I allowed myself the space and time to do all that, because I was taught that my value as a person is 100% dictated by my productivity, my numbers, and my resume, basically. Like, who am I on paper? And I was never encouraged or celebrated or afforded the opportunity to figure out who I was as a person. And that's what I don't want for my kids. So that's why I don't let them quit. Like, my oldest, he's in this stage right now where he wants things to come easily, and he wants to be naturally good at everything, because he's been naturally good at everything his whole life. He was reading, and I mean, like, full Dr. Seuss books when he was 2. Like, kid has always been praised for being so smart, so good. Like, things just always came really natural to him. But now his peers are catching up academically, and I'm not saying that to bash my son, but I'm saying, like, I want him to do things that he struggles with, or I want him to find joy in things that aren't his preferred activities, because he's almost 9, like, he's getting older, and I don't want him to be stuck in a box or put limitations on himself for his entire life just because things are challenging. That's what I don't want for him. And of course, I'm like the worst mother in the world because of it, but I want my children to grow. I want them to know that I'm always proud of them for who and you know, who they are and what they do, but I want them to know that there's always room to grow, there's always room to be better, there's always room to change, and it's never too late to course correct. So I was always taught growing up, never depend on a man because he is going to use you and then leave you, and use is like have sex with you and then leave you. I have been with my husband for 5 years now, over 5 years, and we're still married, we're still happily married, we're still like never getting a divorce. And I'm a stay-at-home wife, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and he knows that my intention is never to go back to work. He knows that after, I want lots of kids, I want 10 kids. So after I raise my 10 kids, I want to be promoted to housewife, and he is so on board with that. He's so supportive of that. I've asked him several times, like, hey, do you want me to get a part-time job? Like, do you want me to? He's like, I want you to be happy. I want you to do whatever it is that makes you happy. If that's working, then go work. If it's staying home and working on yourself and working on your hobbies, then do that. I want nothing more for you than that. And he means it, and I've been... This look is so freaking cool. I like, for those of you who are new, I like the look of unblended edges. I don't really like when things are super, super blended and smooth on me. I do like the grungier, like harsher look, but I do want to blend it out just a little bit. But yeah, the harshness is often intentional because that's just how I like my makeup. But I have been a stay-at-home wife for 3 years now, since my toddler son, since he was born. And I worked really, really hard since I was 15, and now it's my time to slow down and really, like, I find a lot of peace in my home. I find a lot of calm. I find a lot of just happiness, and I belong in my home, I think. I belong home with my children. I belong as a wife. That's always really been my personality, but I did not have a relationship with my family so that they can help me figure that out. And I bet you guys can guess how thrilled my family was when they found out I was becoming a stay-at-home mom. They were pissed, but... because that was the one lesson, and that's pretty sad. If the one lesson that you can remember from your childhood is don't trust anybody, including your spouse, that's pretty sad. Like, the one person I can trust in this whole world is my spouse. And I want to teach my children differently. So I want my kids to know, if you want to be a homemaker, as long as your needs are taken care of, there's no shame in that. There is no shame in wanting to be home with your kids. There is no shame at all. There's also no shame in wanting to be a boss babe. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But that's not what I wanted. I didn't know any better. I knew when I was working these crazy hours, and I was making a lot of money at one point. I was making $10K a month at one of my jobs. No joke. But it just didn't feel... It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it was my calling. Oh, shit. I did not prime my face. Can I put primer on top of this and dry stuff? I don't even know if I can. I need to get a new primer because I finished up my primer yesterday. I remember actually really hating this primer, which is why I put this away for so long. This is the Milk Makeup. It's the Cloud Glow Primer. I think I'm lower than I thought. I think I'm down to here already, which I'm glad because I really, really don't like this primer. I got it, thankfully, in the Ipsy shop. But I saw somebody... And this is why I like Get Ready With Me, by the way. You get to see how people apply their makeup differently than you, and maybe it helps you figure out new ways you like your makeup. This might be like a really horrible base. We'll see. Because I'm putting it over my set under eyes. I don't know. I hate the way my skin looks right now. I wear foundation every single day. This is a tinted moisturizer, but I am not one of those people that can go without wearing foundation. I just hate the way my skin looks. And that's the other thing I have come to really learn about myself over the past year, is I need to do my makeup. And not because I feel like I'm hideous without makeup or anything like that. And haha, cue the troll comments like you're totally hideous with and without makeup. But it makes me just feel like I'm giving myself that self-care time. It makes me feel like I'm carving out time to do something for me, and it's so fun to apply. And if I don't do it, my husband obviously like supports me 100%. So he thinks I'm beautiful with or without makeup. He likes me exactly the same. Like my kids, like they'll be like, "Why aren't you wearing makeup?" But like they aren't like, "Oh, mom," you know. But it's just because they know it's what I do every day. If I stopped wearing makeup tomorrow, my whole family would be super supportive of it. But for me, it's my me time that makes me feel like, okay, I have my face on, I can conquer the rest of the day or whatever. And it has nothing to do with like self-esteem issues, because I went to the library, I did my whole day up until nap time without my face on. It's just, but now I feel more energetic, and I'm sure you guys can see that shift, you know, in real time. Like, okay, I have my face on, I'm ready. This really is a nice bronzer. It's a brush bronzer. And I never hear anybody talk about this. The only other person who I've ever heard talk about this is my friend Tammy. She has a different shade than me, but she's the only person. I've never heard anybody else use it. And she also says the same thing. Like, it makes your skin look really nice. And I agree, it does. I really want to try, so Dior just came out with a bronzer stick. The ABH one almost made its way into my cart when I was at Ulta a couple weeks ago, but did not. But I still want to try the CoverGirl. But it's just bronzer. It's just bronzer. My nose. I'm a disgusting human being. For those of you that are brand new. Like straight up fucking nasty. Okay, take my Vanngo Single Mother Blush. Tap, tap. This got a little bit of attention when it first came out. But their eyeshadow palettes all had a dud from what people have said. There's at least a shade in there that like didn't perform the way the others did. And then I haven't heard anybody else talk about anything else. So nobody's talked about the lipsticks since then. Nobody's talked about the blushes since then. And I'm surprised because I think they're pretty. I think it's just, and I've said this before, the timing of it. A lot of brands like to release the same thing at the same time. So right now we're in a very like face product-y stage where everyone's dropping blushes and bronzers and highlighters, and it's like if this was coming out last year when everybody was releasing blue purple palettes, I think it would have gotten more attention, but everything just gets missed because everything comes out at the same time. And I don't know why brands do that. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm not in brand marketing or anything like that, obviously, but I've always wondered, like, why do people, if I was a brand owner, which I'm never going to be because I have no desire to be at all, I would figure out what the trends were and then deliberately not push out that type of product, because when you know everybody else is going to, it just feels like you're setting yourself up for failure, because what are the odds that everybody's going to want your version of whatever it is over the next guy's? Probably not very likely. This look is so stinking cool. It's just a basic look, but it's different from what I normally do. And like very different from what I normally do. So it's really fun. Okay. I think gonna take, this is Black Honey. I still remember you blacked out, face down, asleep in your car, and the violence, the sirens. The worst of all breaks my mama's heart. Showed up, say you growed up, you just wanna see us. Swear you found Jesus. So, for somebody who is very atheist, I sing a lot of songs, or I enjoy listening to a lot of songs where they're like, talk to Jesus, and I'll find myself saying it like, I swear to God, and then I'm like, if God were real, because I know that holds a lot of like impact for some people, but I firmly just don't understand. And I've asked Sean this too, because we hang out with the atheist community on TikTok, and we also hang out with like the science community. And I'm like, how can educated people believe in God? Like, I just don't, and that was a genuine question, like, no dig, nothing. Like, if you're educated, how can you believe in God? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. And Sean's like, well, blah, blah, blah. But, like, he's explained it to me several times over again, and I still just don't understand, because there's just, I don't know. And it's okay. I don't think I'm ever going to understand that. But I don't need to understand everything, and I don't need to pretend like I understand everything. My opinion still stands, but that's not the point of this. Anyway, doesn't this look cool? This is pretty cool. I enjoy this. This is so different from what I usually do. And I am so amazed that it matches my shirt. But yes, for those of you that are new, please know that my videos are not tutorials. They don't ever... I never present them as tutorials, because I do basic shapes and basic stuff. But I think that my voice it's different. So a lot of people don't hold the same opinions as me, and that's what makes it so fun, is when people take the time to like engage about something I've said and like share their viewpoint. And I don't view it as an argument. I truly view it as dialogue, because I know that some of my takes are out there. And there have been times where I've had a take and somebody's, asked follow-up questions, and I'm like, I didn't think of it like in my own answers. It's called epistemology, where you just ask somebody questions about their viewpoint. And I have changed my own opinion before based off epistemology. Sean likes to epistemology me. And at first it really pissed me off, because I was like, you're asking me questions that like I don't know the answer to. And he's like, well, no, that's the point of the exercise, though. It's having you think about your position a little bit more from a different perspective, like just from having like a dialogue about it. But yeah, I'm always willing to change my opinion about things. I just need a reason to. And God's one of those things. And it probably has to do with my Catholic upbringing, but you're welcome to try. You certainly are welcome to try. We can talk God if you want. Instagram DMs are always open. The comment section on YouTube, people tend to only talk about their viewpoints on the YouTube comment sections if they're trying to like, haha, got you, like flex, or if they're like, oh, you're just like bad faith actors, I suppose. But really, I'm always down to talk about anything and everything, most anything and everything. But let me know what you think about the look. I'm going to try my damnest to get this stuff edited and put up soon. I'll catch you guys. For a second, I thought I had lipstick on my teeth because I caught like a glimpse of red, but maybe I'm just imagining it. I'll catch you guys same time, same place, eventually. Bye.